Okay, guys, so I want to go a little deeper into Drake's lawsuit against UMG and explain to you some of the important things that I found from this lawsuit. So in paragraphs 47 through 48, Drake basically points out that while UMG is one entity, they have several different labels that are working under their umbrella. So there's Interscope, which Kendrick Lamar is signed to, and then there's Republic Records, which Drake is signed to. So long story short, they're basically incentivized if they can make their artists pop that year or have a good year. And the way things currently stand at UMG, if an executive or if a team of executives on one side does something against another side, even though those two sides are under the same umbrella, which is UMG, it doesn't matter. They're still incentivized. So I think the connection that Drake is trying to draw here is that UMG has a responsibility to both parties. However, when they saw that one party was doing the other party wrong and not doing things properly, instead of stepping in and mediating it or shutting it down, they just let it happen. So I want to go back to using our food truck analogy that we used previously. So in the previous analogy, you owned a food truck and you didn't want to work your food truck anymore. You just wanted to license your food truck to someone else and let them work it. So you decided to license your food truck to me. I paid you $1 million in order to use your food truck for 1 year. But at some point throughout that year, you got into a fight and your name, which is also on the food truck, became synonymous in the community and you were frowned upon in the community. But even after that fight, the food truck had a record-breaking year and sold lots of food and made a lot of money even after that fight. So when it's time for us to renew our deal for the next year on the food truck, I decide to say, I don't know. I mean, you had that fight in the community, your name is bad, your name is on a food truck. I don't think I should have to pay you as much as I paid you last time, even though we had a record-breaking year. So that was the first analogy. So now I'm going to give you a second example using the food truck. Let's say I also went to another food truck owner and I told them, I want to buy your food truck. I want to license your food truck for $1 million. They licensed their food truck to me for $1 million. I now have my cousin, we're going to call her Cousin Republic. I now have Cousin Republic running your food truck. I have Cousin Interscope running the other person's food truck. I'm not actually inside a food truck running it day to day. I appointed my cousins Republic and Interscope to run said food truck. Now, in the midst of all this, it's discovered that Cousin Interscope paid someone to pick a fight with you. Your name is on the food truck. Okay, they paid someone, Cousin Interscope paid someone to pick a fight with you. Side note, Cousin Interscope paid someone to pick a fight with you, the owner of the other food truck, because they knew that your name was on the other food truck and the other food truck was their competition. Okay, you were making the most money at all the festivals. You were making the most money day to day at the parks. You had the longest lines. You were their competition. So Cousin Interscope felt like they needed to get rid of you. Because of them paying that person to pick a fight with you, your name is now tarnished in the community. There are some bad reviews left on the food truck website. And now I don't want to pay you what your food truck is actually worth to license it for another year. I don't want to pay you that. Okay, I still want to license it because we still, despite everything, had a record-breaking year. But I don't want to pay you what it's worth. I'm trying to pay you less. I'm trying to undercut you now. And when I found out that Cousin Interscope did that, I didn't do anything about it. I should have stepped in and said, you know what? That was wrong, Cousin Interscope. You shouldn't have done that to Republic, Cousin Republic. And you also shouldn't have done that to the owner of said food truck, you. But instead I didn't. Instead, I said, you as the actual food truck owner should just go sue Cousin Interscope. And I don't want anything to do with it. I'm mad of it. I don't want anything to do with it. Now with that analogy, can you see where the problem is? Like, I know that Cousin Interscope did something wrong, yet I don't want to fix it. I'm hands off. But at the same time, I also don't want to pay you what you're worth. Even though I know Cousin Interscope is the one who paid someone to pick the fight with you, I still don't want to pay you what you're worth. Is it making sense now? Like, imagine this is actually you in your life. What would you be doing?